ولا تجعلوا مع الله إلها آخر إني لكم منه نذير.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Khadija. Welcome to my channel. I am filming this video for you because I wanted to share how my first year of homeschooling went for me and my daughter. I have tried filming this video so many times. Everything just keeps going wrong. I don't know what it is, subhanallah. But I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. I don't want to ramble on. The first thing that I did was I broke down my year into 3 categories. So I had Deen, so religious, the religious aspect of things. I had manners, and I focused also on the dunya aspect, so just your reading, writing, languages, maths, art, science, that kind of thing. So the first category is the Deen one. I heard some really good advice from someone else, and that was that you had to let your child observe you doing the things that you would like them to do as well. So if that is wearing the hijab or going to the masjid or praying or reading Quran, you have to be their best role model. I tried to I tried to involve my daughter in as many things as possible. If I bought her a little prayer mat so that I would sit out next to mine and she would pray, I bought her some hijabs, some abayas so we could match. I took her with me to the masjids for my Quran circles, and we would play a little ayah game on the way there. So I would say one ayah and then she would say one ayah until we finished the surah, and then we'd move on to the next one. I also invested in some Islamic books, which I'll show you now. So I have a lot. So I have these 2. These ones we really liked. She has a little sister, so I feel like she really connected with these because it's about 2 sisters, and about the older sister wearing hijab and the younger sister wanting to be like her. I think they're so beautiful. The illustrations are beautiful, the message is beautiful. We really love these. And we have this one, Mimi and the Unicorn Get to Know Allah. This one was really good. Was a good conversation starter about just acknowledging the presence of Allah and the part that He plays, the role that He plays in our lives. This was beautiful as well. Just the story and the illustrations as well. It's gorgeous. This book also, one of our favorites. This is all about Palestine. This is by my friend Nadia. The illustrations here are also gorgeous. It's really beautiful, and the message is also very beautiful. This is one of her favorite books of probably all time, Migo and Ami Love for the Prophets. This is a huge book with many stories, and we went through a phase of just reading this every single night before bed. She loved them, and I also love them because at the end of every story you have this question and answer page where the 2 characters discuss the story, and usually any questions that the little boy asks his friend are questions that my daughter has asked me. So I love that they addressed that. It's a wonderful conversation starter about just the different experiences that the prophets went through and different lessons that they learned. It's going to be Ramadan soon, like very, very soon. So we have this one. And it's about a girl preparing for Ramadan and Eid. And at the end, they have some little craft activities, some recipes, some facts about masjids. It's a very beautiful book. I really like it. There's this one. We haven't actually gone through all of this yet. It's about praying. It's how to pray, and it also includes instructions on how to make wudu as well. I feel like this is so helpful. I feel like in the coming years, once she starts getting a bit older and learning more surahs and showing a bit more interest in praying and how to pray, I feel like this is going to be a really good investment, inshallah. The next category that I wanted to talk to you about is manners. I don't have many resources. I have one actually here. This is Learning Roots, the box of manners. It comes with a little book, which I'll show you. It's this tiny little book, and there are some ideas for games here, like charades and memory games, and they have these discs like this, and every single one has some good manners on there. So we have cleanliness, telling the truth, and every card has a matching card, so you can play maybe like Snap or something. And I feel like incorporating a game alongside the message of having good manners towards other people is very smart, because when you tell a child something, you have to tell them again and again and again. But when you play with a child and there is a message, they learn a lot quicker and it sticks in their mind a lot better. This has been so helpful on opening the conversation on manners and kindness and compassion and consideration towards others. We still have a long way to go. She's 4, so I can't say that we have this manners thing down pat, but we're definitely starting. I feel like this whole category of working on good manners is so important, especially in a Muslim family, because Islam holds people with manners to such a high regard, and really encourages us as Muslims to be considerate to each other, to be kind to each other. So I think that it's a very important part in any Muslim child's education. Also, another kind of subsection that I really worked on was emotional regulation, breathing exercises, identifying emotions, processing emotions, what are acceptable behaviors, what are unacceptable behaviors, boundaries, setting boundaries, respecting boundaries, that kind of inner work. It was so difficult right at the beginning. You have to, I feel like researching about it really helped, because when you have knowledge, the fear aspect of everything goes away, so you do not fear as much. You don't get so startled when your child has a tantrum. You're like, oh, it's okay, it's gonna last a few minutes, and then they're gonna ride the wave and then they're gonna come right back down. It's okay, you don't have to react to it. You can just let them feel their feelings, as long as they're not participating in any destructive behaviors or hitting or biting or scratching. Then it's just feel your feelings. It's okay, go have some quiet time, and then when you're ready to talk, we can talk again. Just it's so difficult to stand your ground as a parent, especially when you have like a screaming child, or you're in the middle of a shopping centre or somewhere busy, or you're out and about, you want to move on to the next thing. It's so difficult to manage. But I feel like when you have a clear goal, like you have a clear, not a goal, a clear boundary, and you set that boundary and you stand by it, your child feels a lot more safer with you. They feel like, oh, I'm with an adult that knows what they're doing. And as you keep standing strong on your boundaries, and they keep testing it over and over again, but they notice that you are not bending to certain things, like for example things that might be life-threatening or harmful or bad for them, they feel, maybe not consciously, but they still feel it. They still feel safe and they feel held, and that over time dramatically decreases the amount of tantrums that take place. At least I've noticed with my own children that that is the case. The last category that I want to quickly talk to you about is the educational category, so things like reading and maths. At the beginning of this year, my daughter only spoke in Uzbek. She didn't know the names for colours in English. She didn't know how to. She knew some basic things like come here, sit down, but she wouldn't speak. She would speak only in our native language, which was my intention, because when I was younger, I spoke only in English and I couldn't really connect with my relatives. And even now, my Uzbek is very, very fundamental, unfortunately. I'm really trying to work on it. I feel like if my level was a bit higher, I would be able to pass on a higher level to my child as well. But I felt like this year it was time for her to learn English as well, because I wanted her to start reading. So we started off with the basics like phonics, letters. I bought her some workbooks. This is actually the third workbook that she has. The other two were way too high, I couldn't reach them. So I will just I'll put a photo of the ones that she completed here, inshallah. These were one of them was the Scholastic Get Ready for Pre-K, and the other one was the Brain Quest kindergarten book. And after that, I bought this pre-K book. The reason why I didn't buy a kindergarten book, this one, they also have kindergarten here, was because I felt like this was more her level, especially this part here, like recognizing the letters and writing small sentences and reading small sentences and word families and things like that. I wanted her here. I have word families. I wanted her to go through and master the basics properly first, before we jumped onto kindergarten, because even though she completed the kindergarten Brain Quest book, I felt like she went too quickly, so I wanted to bring her back to do it properly. We also took part in many phonics activities and homeschooling groups and meetups. So we followed the sat pin order like this. And over time, as time went by, I started to notice her pick up English a little bit more. I stopped talking to her in Uzbek. I started just speaking only in English, which she hated right at the beginning. She would say, "Oh no, talk to me in Uzbek, I don't like this, why do you talk to me like that?" But alhamdulillah, she picked up and she was able to start replying sooner than I expected. I also invested in these bob books. So these, I'll show you the front. Looks like this. These books, I love them. I cannot even describe how much I love them. Once we master these, I'm hoping to get the next set, inshallah. So these books, this set comes in 3 categories. So we have the red category, which is the simplest, and then the purple, which is intermediate, and then the more advanced green books. So right now, even though she has been through all of these books and we've read them already, she can only comfortably read the red ones by herself, which she's very, very proud of herself for. She sits down and she, sometimes when she's playing independently, she'll just open this and sit down with the red books and read them herself and just look at the photos. They're very, very simple and very cute, and funny as well for her. I don't want this video to get way too long, so I'm going to keep it as condensed as possible. There are more resources that I used, but these are the most current ones. I also purchased this book for numbers for 1 to 3. This is very, very simple. She can do this by herself. This is just going through all of the numbers. So you start off really simply, and then the book carries on building and building and building until you get to numbers to 30. So we have a little dot to dot and writing missing numbers. I really like this. Before this, we were learning numbers up to 20 on an abacus. So I would count out the beads, and then she would count out the beads at the bottom. So I would do the top and she would do the bottom. And then we would write the number down on the board. So if I counted 11 beads, she would also count 11 beads, and then I would write 11 on one side of the board and she would write 11 on the other side of the board, so that we could work on 2 skills at the same time, which is counting. Actually, it's technically 3 skills: counting, the name of the number, and how it is written. We also did a little bit of less than, greater than. I haven't introduced addition or subtraction to her yet. I'm very excited to, though. I can't wait to see how she will. Can't wait to witness how her mind slowly expands. Another thing that we started focusing on near the end of this year, towards the end of this year, is Russian. So my sister-in-law gifted us these books, and at first I was a bit apprehensive about having her learn Russian, having her learn the Russian language and the Russian alphabet, because the letter shapes are the same but the sounds are different, and I was worried that she would mix things up. So for example, this is a Y in English, but this is an U. This is the B in English, but this is a V. This is a P, but it's an R, you know? So it's I was a bit nervous about that, but she somehow doesn't get mixed up. Alhamdulillah. We have only come up to the letter sh here, but alhamdulillah, she's reading quite nicely, alhamdulillah. She has some issues blending words that are like longer than 4 letters, but alhamdulillah, she's doing it. So I'm just following her interest. She picks this book up herself throughout the day, and she just reads it. Sometimes she'll take it to my husband. My husband is Russian, so mostly they do this book together, because as much as I try, my Russian level is very, 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 very basic. Sometimes she'll open this and she'll be like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "I don't know, go ask your dad." Because I know some of them, but I know some words, but I don't know all of them. My vocabulary is not very strong, so this has been mostly with her dad, alhamdulillah, which is nice. It's a good bonding opportunity for them. I think I'm going to stop here now, inshallah. I have a lot more things to show, so maybe if you like a part 2 of this, I could go through my resources more thoroughly. I keep all of her work in these kind of folders. The reason why they're so huge is because we have a lot of arts and crafts in there as well, some maths, a little bit of everything, basically. I wanted to keep a log of all of the things that she's done, because I wanted to have a physical reference of her progress. So I will be leaving you here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was somewhat helpful. All of the books and resources, inshallah, that I mentioned, I will have linked in my description. I feel like everyone's homeschool journey is so different. Some people like to have a strict curriculum that they follow. Some people are more free and just do things, you know, as they go along. Some people make their own curriculums up until a certain age, until they have to, you know, pick which finishing exam they want their child to take. I feel like at this age, because she just recently turned 4, so while all of the stuff that we did was in the past year, so she was still 3. I feel like at 3 years old, I didn't really want to push my child into any set curriculum. I didn't want to have that pressure. I wanted to follow her interest, because most of all, I wanted to build a love for learning. I wanted to build that kind of connection towards, I don't know, like a thirst for knowledge, I guess. I didn't want it to feel like an obligation. I didn't want it to feel like a chore. I wanted it to be something that we did together, that we bonded over. So I try to keep it as fun as possible, as light as possible, but I still feel quite proud of everything that we achieved together, alhamdulillah, this year, because as I said at the beginning of this year, she didn't speak any English. It's January 2025 now, and she is speaking English, alhamdulillah, fluently. I hope that by next year that she will be speaking Russian as well fluently. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. I feel like I need to really work on my own Russian level as well, so that I can speak it with her at home, just to help her move along and progress a bit faster. So yeah, I have some goals for this year that I don't really want to speak about, because you know, psychologically, when you speak about goals, your brain already kind of tricks you. You get dopamine release and you're like, oh, it's okay. Socially, I've already accomplished this goal. So I don't want to speak about it until maybe next year. Maybe I'll do another recap video next year on my channel about all of the things that we learned this year, inshallah. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Jazakallah khair. I hope this was helpful. And I'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.